Welcome to I'm Loving Life podcast with A&T Mechanical, Heat and Air, Plumbing, and Generac. Anyway, I'm super excited. I'm talking about the Olympics. Have you been watching it, bro?
No.
What?
No. I've only seen the highlights. And
goodness.
So I'm aware of what's going on, but...
Man, talk about loving life. These guys are at their full potential, running their butts off, swimming their butts off. But reality is like they're the best of the best. Mm-hmm. And U.S. is kicking butt. That's all I'm saying. But there's some ones I'm still so amazed by the Turkish guy shooting.
Oh, yeah.
I'm still loving it.
Joseph
Where's
wants
my
to make
glasses?
a TikTok.
I didn't have my glasses.
He's got his nerd glasses for it.
Man, these are my first sets of glasses I ever wore.
Really?
Yeah.
That was your choice?
Here you go. This was my choice. See, I just...
What a stunning man.
Turkish? You got that side by side?
You got that salt and pepper in your hair,
yeah,
too.
I'm locked in, man.
Not as much as that, but I saw, so whenever, like the Philippines, right, whenever they have someone that wins gold, like it's a huge deal over there, like these people go crazy. So
right.
the last Olympics, it was a female, I think weightlifter, the Olympic style, you know, what they call it, clean.
Yeah.
And it was a woman, and she won gold, right? So a huge deal. First gold ever for the Philippines. Then this year, they had a gymnast that got gold.
Yeah.
And I looked and saw what he got, basically, for getting gold. And he got, like, a house, you know, a condo, and the weirdest...
House and a condo?
Yeah. So a house somewhere, and it had the equivalent in, like, U.S. dollars, you know, but real nice, you know. And the weirdest thing on there, and it must be one of his sponsors, but... Once he hits 45, he gets free colonoscopies for the rest of his life.
That's a perk. That's a perk.
I could not believe it. I'm looking out there. That is the weirdest perk for getting a gold medal. It's like, hey, guy, free colonoscopies.
When you're winning, you're winning. All right.
And then I think for the local spots, he got like free... he gets free meals, free ramen, you know.
But just think, like, some of these countries don't even give that. Mm-hmm. I mean, some of it's like maybe like 20 or maybe just a apartment.
I saw on the
holy cow.
LinkedIn that was from China and what they got. Like, they get millions of dollars. Like, they're paid.
U.S. is like 70,000.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, we're not crazy. Mm-hmm. I mean, like, for me, like, you know, these guys have dedicated their life to be the best athlete they possibly can. Now, they work so hard for it, and then they go do this thing, and they're eating ramen to get to that level. I know it's a pride thing to say I'm the best, and that's freaking awesome, but to know that, like, you're going to be broke because... You know, you don't get sponsors unless you are winning or something like that, because not everybody's the best. I mean, they're sitting there grinding over and over and over, and then they had their moment. I think it was the last year. Some speed skater never speed skated in his life, end up winning gold or either won gold or silver because all the people like crashed out and he was at the back.
Really?
Like all of them like hit each other and they all went off and he came in and won, but he's never did it before, but he was just he was the slowest one, so he ended up winning.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just, you know, how lucky are you? And like,
even the guy, Noah Lyles, right?
Yeah. The sprinter?
It's a 100 meter dash, right? Whenever I think it was a pre-qualifiers, like he put out like his Goku, like some card, like a trading card.
Oh, I don't know.
Pokemon, like a Pokemon card. You know, and I can't remember what the Pokemon card was. And then there was a clip too where he was trashing the NBA players. Yeah, same guy. And then at that race where he won gold, he, you know, did his whole antics before that, and they're like, dude, like, you better deliver because you're never going to live that down, you know?
Right.
And then he ended up, you know, just getting his torso in front just enough to win it.
But was that the 100 though, right?
I think it was the 100, yeah.
And then he started, I mean, he's got it. I mean, but then he's running his race, the 200, and he's saying that he's going to make people look stupid. I mean, but you as an athlete, I mean, winning's winning. It doesn't matter who was second, third for him because But if you're that good and you can spit the game and follow up on it, I mean, talk about somebody loving life. That man is on fire right now. But his endorsements, his everything. I mean, he's on the Wheaties box. But if you got it, you got it.
Yeah. Well, then Oklahoma City had the first Olympic event too. I think it was the kayaks or something.
Oh, but we host that here.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's cool.
Yeah.
And I think there's more that's supposed to come at the next one because the next one's in America, right?
I think
it's
so.
LA. LA got to 2028, I think, because I think softball is going to be here too, if I remember right.
I didn't reach into that, but I just and the NBA. I mean, I think it's crazy. So everybody goes to and stays at all the athletes stay in that one section. What is it called?
The Olympic Village.
The Village. Well, the NBA people that are making millions rented out either a cruise or a hotel and paid a whole lot of millions, but they can eat whatever they want, they can drink whatever they want, and they're living the high life. It just blows my mind.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, I do the same thing.
If you had that much, heck yeah.
Absolutely.
I'm a millionaire.
And this is their off season too, so it's like I need to be like comfortable,
right?
Like this because they're taking time out of their vacation, and people are gonna say, "Well, boo-hoo, gotta make
it's America, yeah."
Who cares? But still, I mean, that's their time to recover,
But I mean, it's not like they don't have studs. I saw a TikTok. They're acting like he was guarding LeBron, and he's like, "All right, sub him out." And the guy's like, "Oh yeah." And then KD comes in. He's like, "Oh no." Either way, it's going to be bad. I mean, you're playing. These guys are. Where did they end up at?
I don't know who they still haven't lost.
Okay, but
they beat Germany last, I think.
They played that.
South Sudan.
South Sudan. They beat them, but man,
1 point, and it was LeBron that took him home. So
I'm just saying.
Well, I don't know if you saw, but I had that Facebook post from last week where I said something about LeBron versus Michael Jordan.
Oh yeah, and, you did it just for.
Well,
that's why I didn't even chime in on it.
It's engagement farming. Okay, that's just you need. I was starting to see my impressions for what I post go down, so I'm like, haha, let's light this candle.
Yeah.
And so I don't really care.
I know you didn't. That's why I did not jump on that bandwagon. I was like,
"There's at like 6 o'clock in the morning." He's like, my first call.
It's like no.
Well, and then people are taking it so seriously, and I'm like, "Bro, it's not that serious. This is all a hypothetical situation, anyways. I don't think it's fair to compare different eras. If you want to go the championship route, then you got to say Bill Russell, right?
Oh,
you have to. The dude has 11 rings. So. Did Brad hear me? Brett's in the next room.
But you know who like the all-time leading the GOAT? They say the GOAT is
Jerry West.
No.
Pete.
No. Nolan Ryan.
Who?
Nolan Ryan.
He's a basketball player.
No.
Oh, what is he?
But you know how they compare everybody and stuff like that. Nolan Ryan's got more strikeouts, the longer time. He didn't throw strikes one night, he'd play the next night and throw 100 balls. I mean, the dude's a stud. That was a stud. And if you're going to compare people with people, I mean, they're all saying he was a stud because I mean he went longer than anybody. He threw more strikes than anybody. He was just a stud.
For baseball, it's kind of
in general
that Jim Thorpe too, right?
Okay.
I mean, that's kind of the argument too because he played multiple sports, was All-American and all of them. But you gotta look at the time too. It's dudes playing other guys there's probably a plumber in there. Probably half the team were plumbers, and they're wearing leather helmets.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think it's fair to compare because you also on the NBA side, they didn't have a 3-point shot. And I can't remember whenever it was, but they brought in 3-point shot.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't really think it's fair to compare that. I think for each era of basketball, they
it should be separate.
It.
Yeah,
it's like, hey, Michael Jordan, you get the '90s, bro. Okay, cool.
100%.
And then early 2000s, let's give it to Kobe. And
that makes sense.
LeBron has just been going.
Right. But I mean, he is a stud. But I don't know.
But I mean, imagine though playing basketball and outplaying everyone on the USA team 20 years later. I mean, that's pretty impressive.
It is very impressive.
Because I think they had, what's his name, Anthony Edwards was like, oh yeah, I'm going to be the best, And then he was asked after the South Sudan game, like, how did you guys win? What was it? He's like, oh, LeBron. It's just LeBron. You know? And that's what he said. So anyway,
the best one that I've seen so far is the walking one.
Oh yeah, where
like
the
a 20,000. No, this is like the 20,000 meter. Well, man, they get red cards, they get timeouts.
Do they really?
Oh yeah, it's amazing because they look like they're jogging. Mm-hmm. But reality is like, so we went deep into it. Like you have to have a foot on the ground at all times. But when you extend your foot out, the knee has to be locked to make the step. And once they start to bend the knee, they get warnings. After 3 warnings, you get a red card. Red card, you go into penalty for 2 minutes. It's just commentator, the people that are saying the sport is hilarious.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Wow. I didn't know they went that hard like that.
Yeah. I mean, I was like, this is crazy.
So was that the same race that the lady that was in the lead?
No.
Celebrating.
But that was track and field. This was the first thing that happened for the Olympics was the walk. It was pretty neat.
I think one of the most epic things was the U.S. team, the rugby team.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah.
Man,
bulldozed that chick and ran all the way back,
to win it
with no time left.
That hands down, that was amazing.
They tied it and then they kicked the extra point. Right.
That's right.
It was an easy extra point because they went right through the middle. I don't know the rules for rugby. I never really understand what's going on, but
that girl number 2, I don't know her name, and I feel bad. She's a beast. Mm-hmm. She started going hard on TikTok, though.
Oh, yeah. I've seen her all over the place.
Which is great because, she's hilarious.
Well, my favorite, rugby kind of players, they have a podcast. There's 2 of them, I think. They're New Zealand guys. And, man, they had the most epic, rants. Or they'll do, they did, a hype video for the All Black team, New Zealand's, I think they call them All Blacks, right?
I don't know.
And they were I think they were playing a championship versus England, maybe. And it was a bunch of, what they were saying was this bunch of, and these guys were team captains on the team in their time. But there was a bunch of veterans on that team, and they're like, hey, they're kind of old, good old players past their prime, but they did this whole hype video that was 2 minutes long, and it was the best hype monologue I've heard, And then, but they also do throwback sessions too.
Yeah.
Where they'll play here's one that you forgot about, and they'll play early 2000s or whatever it is. But they just have a great time.
I don't know, under this rugby.
Yeah, high energy guys. They're really entertaining.
That's I didn't really I think I'm more passionate about it when it's the U.S. playing. You can watch all the other sports too, but man, whenever U.S. is in, I'm I'm more engaged. I want to be the best because that's us. We're we do have studs in America. It's awesome.
Yeah.
So it's pretty exciting, but.
I feel like it's the Olympics is the time for sports that people don't really care about to actually get a spotlight, because there's more interest in watching the women's gymnastics team or the 100-yard dash or whatever it is than even NBA, the USA basketball.
Right.
Team. There's more hype over that kind of stuff, But do you see that one? I think he was Cuban, the wrestler. This was his 5th Olympics. He won gold each time.
Holy cow.
Yeah, and it was his 5th one, and he left his shoes on the mat as, he's retiring.
Oh, that's dope.
Yeah, but he's the oldest Olympian, wrestler, I guess, that's been in it the longest. Because that's, 20 years?
Yeah, that's a long time.
Yeah, 20 years worth of that. It's crazy.
But it's crazy because on top of that, they try to submit different games, and they try to submit one this year that was poodle clipping.
What?
Yeah. We looked it up last night. Dog clipping, but it was poodle. No, cutting their hair.
Oh.
How many you can do, and somebody got 17 in an hour or so. They try you can submit games, and that was one of them.
Did you see the one that I think Finland submitted, and it's okay, how do I describe this? So they had the equestrian type stuff.
Yeah.
Hop over the fences, stuff like that,
Right.
right with the horse. This was basically them having a pole with the horse head on it.
That's hobbying.
Yes, so that.
Yes.
They tried to do that, and I watched a clip on it. I was like, they all look insane. Like, I don't know how you could do that sport. It's crazy.
I think it would be funny to watch.
Oh, sure. But it's like they're hiking their horse up and they're the ones
They're
jumping.
like jumping.
Yeah, no, thank you.
And you're like, well, this one's a little tired today. I'm gonna get my other one. This is Pepper. Pepper's running today.
Thing. I don't get it. But I didn't realize they submit stuff like all the time.
I don't know if they submit it, but like that one, because we're looking up like weird games that last night we just went down a rabbit hole, and that was.
Are most of the events at night or are they during the day?
It depends on what time. I think what they do is they're in the morning and then they recap at the night, so that it's like they played again, and then you'll see the gold instantly. You know what I'm saying? So they'll win probably in the morning, do their medal, and then kind of like a recap at night. I think that's the way it's going.
Okay.
But it's insane. There was a guy beat a world record for climbing a wall. And they're like, he's better than Peter Parker.
Oh.
He went like in 4.3 seconds up this wall, like
Yeah.
climbing. It was like he just like walked it.
Yeah.
It was insane. But
Wow.
there's so many, like, there's some really good sports, and then there's some that you're just like, what?
Like curling. Curling comes up occasionally.
Yeah.
I don't know. Andre was giving me a hard time over the shooting, thing, because I talk about form and all that kind of stuff. He's like, this Turkish guy can go in there and John Wick it. I was like, yeah, but they're shooting 22s, and those guns are all specially like custom made for them. Like, there's no recoil on that thing.
Right.
That's why you can stand like that,
But if you compare those to all the other people that are like, with the eye,
with the blinder,
they're like,
thing.
I got this.
Yeah.
And this guy is like,
Yeah. I don't. He won, right?
yeah.
He won gold?
No, he won silver.
Oh, okay.
He won silver.
But still, medaling is
He's
crazy.
51 years old, just shot his gun.
He looks like he doesn't care about anything.
Somebody said that like the reason he started shooting because he got a divorce and he
He was bored.
picked up a gun and started practicing.
Oh, okay. Well,
I was like, that's another level.
at least she's shooting the target and not.
Yeah, I get it.
That's positive.
He was like, wow.
That's a win.
But to get on the Olympics to do that, he's probably like some assassin that was like, hey, I'm just going to take this over.
John retired, basically.
Yeah.
Did you see So I don't think you watched it yet. The Wolverine Deadpool movie?
No.
Do you know it passed The Passion for the highest grossing like R-rated movie ever?
No
It
way.
passed it. Yeah.
That-
The Passion
yeah.
was number one.
For a long time.
Since
That's
like 2000
crazy.
or something, 2001 maybe.
I did not know that. But it's a
In the second week.
you saw it.
Oh yeah, it's great.
You and Mike.
Yeah, it's amazing. Like, it's such a good movie.
I think all the Deadpools are great.
Yeah, they're good. Yeah, this one was just the next level. Everything was so tight on it. Definitely don't have your kids watch it, but for adults, like, and you're okay with R-rated movies, like, it is amazing. That movie's incredible.
I've just been watching the stuff that shows on social media so far.
Now you're seeing all the spoilers now.
But at least I can catch them.
But why don't you just go watch the movie?
It's when have I had time?
I don't know.
Yeah, we haven't had time.
It's all right. We'll book a job.
No,
Laney, we're gonna book a job.
no.
Hey,
No.
we're gonna go do an install on Saturday morning. We'll be gone for 4 hours.
4 hours.
Okay?
It's a 4 hour movie.
No.
God.
I think it's 2.5.
Oh, really? It hits all
Yeah,
for
the
two
whole
and a
time.
half.
Consistent. There's no dead spots on it. If you're someone that has ADHD, perfect, because it keeps you locked in the whole time. There's no.
There's so many
spots.
cameos that come out and stuff like that.
No, it's great.
It's well worth it.
There's one, and Andre and I have been talking about this too. The cinematography I'm not going to spoil it, but the van scene. If you've seen the van scene in that movie, it is so well done. So well done.
I haven't seen it.
Yeah, and then Anyway, I'm not going to
You
say
can
anything
spoil
more.
it. Why not?
No, I'm not
I'm
gonna
fine
say
with
anything
it.
else.
Let's hit it.
Well, they expose like Chris Evans. Chris Evans is Captain America. He doesn't
Yeah.
say bad words, whatever. And Deadpool like there's a scene after the credits. It's so good, And there's like if you watch all the other Marvel movies, you know exactly what he's alluding to, you know. But it's so great. But Ryan Reynolds, like his marketing and stuff is brilliant. And one thing I saw was there was I want to say they hadn't released the first Deadpool movie, but Marvel didn't know if they wanted to release it or not, or continue the project.
Right.
But Ryan Reynolds had already shot promos for this thing. So there was a promo for Deadpool that leaked, right? And they're saying that Ryan Reynolds was behind the leak.
Believe it.
Because, you know, he was really pushing for it. And there was a quote, my phone's recording. There's a quote that I took from him, and it was basically what his pitch was to the executives at Disney.
Right.
On what to go for and what people think, and he nails it. And I don't know, I'll look at it later. But I screenshot it and kept it, you know, because it's brilliant.
It's a brilliant one.
But just I don't know if you've seen his commercials at all that he's in for like Mint Mobile or anything like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's how he does his mind whenever it comes to marketing stuff is amazing.
Yeah.
You know, so that's someone that, I mean, we made a TikTok, the Coil app that you didn't like. So that was the end was based off of one of Ryan Reynolds.
Coil app?
The Coil app, the matching.
Oh, yeah, gotcha.
The ending of it, where I'm being interviewed, is shot to mimic the Mint, one of Ryan Reynolds' Mint Mobile.
Gotcha.
Commercials, you know, to give it that feel.
Yeah.
But it's hard to copy like his tone and, you know, how he comes across and everything. But I've been going on this binge since then and watching like old Ryan Reynolds movies.
Oh no, you're going down that rabbit hole.
I watched, was it Waiting, where he's like a server at a restaurant?
Oh, just now? That's the first time watching it?
Yeah. I haven't seen Van Wilder yet.
Oh my God.
That's on
that's
the
a
list
good one
to go watch, you know.
That's an early stage Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah, but he's brilliant.
Oh yeah.
I think
that Weighted one is oh my God, it's so nasty.
Oh, it's great. It's so great. Have you ever watched The Proposal?
Oh yeah.
Sandra
Absolutely.
Bullock, right? So I think that was the first movie I watched for
Bullock?
Ryan Reynolds. Yeah, Sandra Bullock.
Bullock? I don't know.
Bullock. Bullock, I think. But that one's like a rom-com, you know, kind of thing. But he alludes to it in the Deadpool Wolverine movie.
Oh no!
Yeah, he pokes fun at it. He pokes fun at Disney.
Oh yeah,
and the fact that they approved that is awesome. You know?
Yeah, oh, absolutely. I mean, he did really well. I guess the Deadpool was supposed to be Deadpool and Friend, and like they did like a research on like whatever, and everybody hated it, and they were about to show like the next day, the opening. And then they had to do all their marketing change so it'd be Deadpool and Wolverine.
I know they did a bunch of reshoots.
Well, it wasn't a reshoot. It was just rebranding because it was Deadpool and Friend and no one liked it. And then when they put Wolverine in, it just went off.
Yeah.
It was crazy. I mean...
Well, I'm talking about the Marvel thing, what they're going to do next with Doctor Doom and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
You know, why am I forgetting his name? I'm about to call him Tony Stark, Robert Downey Jr. That's going to be incredible. You know, so
that's that level, boy. They're getting it.
The dude's made $500 million already, and part of his thing to be Doctor Doom was, I think his salary was like $150 million or something, plus whatever box office like bonuses, and he demanded that the Russo brothers be the directors that had been the directors for all the Iron Man movies.
Oh, nice.
So he was like, no, I want them back to do it. So he kind of got it all what he wanted. You know?
But it follows the comic books to T, like, because Tony Stark, that Doom is part of him. And that's why they have to bring Stark back. It's pretty crazy. I'm super
You need to go
super
watch
excited.
The Deadpool Wolverine movie, though.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. So... Things to do to lift me up. I'm gonna go watch this rated R movie.
You should. It's amazing. Well, we talked last time about, I think, updates in the refrigerant world. Is there anything else that you've kind of seen that are changes that are coming other than refrigerant?
Well, I mean, it comes with the equipment. The equipment's all going to be different because we're trying to get it so you don't have to braze onto equipment. I think that's the biggest concern out of everything is because it's flammable. We're going to have to put a torch to that chemical. It's not going to blow up a house. But reality is we have to use a torch to close that loop so it's sealed. But I hope.
Are they making a Pro Press that's going to be compatible with that refrigerator?
I think Vega's trying. Another company has like a 2-ring thing that might work. The pressures are not any higher than the other refrigerant. Just,
but it's more about the refrigerant corroding the rubber gasket. Right?
That's the only reason that we have a problem.
Spot.
And in this situation, we can't afford to have a weak spot. Mm-hmm. So, and there's a gray area because you can keep replacing your house 12-year-old unit, it's 410A, and you say, I just want a new condenser. Well, if I have a condenser on my hand that's 410A, then I can replace that without getting in trouble. Mm-hmm. I can't replace your whole system without getting in trouble, but your condenser I can. And then the next day I can replace the coil. But nobody's going to be making those components anymore. Mm-hmm. So the manufacturers are going to stop supplying those. So whoever has a bunch in stock,
out, right?
Yeah,
until they run out whatever they manufactured. So,
right,
so they're probably going to stop production
now.
But they were probably still catching up from COVID too, right?
No, what hurts. So Daikin right now is trying to get it. They were supposed to be out before the summertime. Mm-hmm. Well, they got pushed back because of the hurricane, the flooding. I mean, everything keeps pushed. Yeah, kept getting pushed back. Lennox is probably going to hold. They're producing it, but it's just going to be on that bandwagon of using everything they possibly can until, because they have to change all their machines to do something different.
Right.
And it's going to.
Can you talk a little bit about
whole much different.
How it was like getting equipment during COVID, during that time when there were shortages everywhere?
The biggest thing was like this. The supply houses did not have the people to work there. Not the supply houses. The manufacturers didn't have the people to work the line to build the equipment. So it was so scarce. And whatever you had in your shop, Mark Doolittle saved us plenty of times, and John Stones, because they would have something that we could use to go in that time. But the reality is like when that hit, we had some that we bought, and then whatever pieces we didn't have, Mark Doolittle, he had a supply house full of stuff that was doing new construction. Mm. Well, the new construction halted,
right?
Because no one's building, because no one can be out there or whatever. Or if they were slower because the material from the wood and all that stuff skyrocketed. Yeah. So like there was this gray area. So he helped us out a lot so we can still run our business. And then especially John Stones, Lennox didn't have anything, and they went through a tornado that hit their thing, and
like
the coil, the tornado hit them, and then before that they had a big problem with their coils, and it was just a trickle effect, and then they've got it figured out now. But
and then Lennox just built a facility in Mexico too, a big one where they do the Allied units, the RTUs.
They have an assembly so they can put it all together. So, I mean, I think the lines are like during COVID it was rough because no one would work, but we had to work because everybody was working from home. It was just and it was a good time for us because we're very
people were spending more money on upgrading their house at that time, right? Because they're there all the time. So then they're starting to be like, I don't like how this looks, or whatever it is.
And they spent a lot of time in their house because everybody couldn't go anywhere. So that was a good time, but the supply chain was awful, but we made it through it. And then now those supply chain have to change midstream when they're the busiest time of the year to get the supply built up before they have to have it started. New construction, the thing with them is like next year is when that house is going to be finished. Well, you can't not have the new stuff in it. So it's like they're a fine line. Do you buy the stuff and have it setting for them, or do you, it's going to be fun.
Yeah.
But we're not new construction,
No.
so
But like a common issue that we see, and I highly doubt Integrated runs into this or does it or anything, but undersizing, you see that all the time.
oh yeah,
When builders are undersizing houses, and you look at the house, you're like, oh, it's only 5 years old,
right.
Then you go in there and you're like, you have a 3-ton and not a 5-ton for this 2,000 square foot house or whatever.
So, and a lot of people, that's what plays a factor, especially when you pick your builder. So one, they might have in their mind that they're going to spray foam, so you can get more square footage per ton if it's spray foam. And so in the new construction world, or that thing, it's the cheapest bid. So your margins are probably 5%. 10%. Like you're going to make more money if you do 100 houses than you would that one.
Right.
And that's the ultimate goal as a new construction
Do like
person.
250 houses, whatever.
Yeah, nonstop. But you're looking at margins so slim, it's cheaper to buy a 4-ton than it is a 5, and it's cheaper to buy a 3-ton than a 4. But you're talking maybe a couple $100, but that margin does play a factor, especially if you have to come back, you fail, or you come back and do something. So the margins are so slim, they're trying to shave off everything. There's some companies that give you, here's 10 screws and that's all you have. If you drop one, you got to go find it because you're not going to have enough.
Yeah.
Because everything for new construction is just a battle of who can do the cheapest. For us, like we want to do a home run. So a home run for us is if you have a far bedroom, you want to take that duct and run it straight all the way to the plenum so you have control over that duct. Well, it's cheaper if I run one duct and hit multiple runs with a piece of Y than running 50 feet or 25 feet of duct. It's just cheaper. Well, that helps the cost, but it loses the ability to manage how that ductwork's going to run and in rooms, that kind of stuff, and everybody's going to skimp on something.
And that's usually if you enter the house, you're like, yeah, my kid's room is always hotter,
Right.
and always cold, or whatever. And that's usually because they restricted it down so much and it doesn't have enough air.
Yeah.
Like how many houses have we probably got into to where get in there and it has let's say it has an 8-inch duct that goes most of the way and then it splits off and we'll go to like a 6, 4 or 6 inch.
Yeah, but that's the majority of what we're good at is because we some people like to use booster fans, some people don't. I don't really like them, but some cases you have to use them. All that is it ties a motor to a duct and sucks the air and forces it down the line. It's good for some occasions, but if that motor is gonna fail. So you want to size the duct correctly to get it to go. And
you need it if it's in a duct that doesn't have enough velocity, basically.
Right.
And you need that motor, that fan in there
to get it across. And it is good to have it in some spots, but like if it's your house, you don't want to worry that your house is going to get hot tomorrow because that motor went out. You want to be like, I turn this on and everything's equal. And that's what we try to really focus on, because if you increase a duct bigger to have bigger throw, then you'll get it down that line. It's just knowing how to do it correctly.
A common misconception for homeowners too, right, that don't know anything about HVAC is, and I did this myself, right, and I go, let's say it's during the winter time and I'm like, hey, I need more of the heat to go over here and there's a room over here I don't use, so what do? Close the vent. I'm like, all right, cool. That's going to push more air to the other side of the house. Doesn't work like that.
To a certain extent, it does. It just puts more velocity over there, but there's only so much air. So if you look at it and you have a 6-inch round, that's all the air that's going to go through there. That's it. So 150 CFM. Well, you can push more, but you're still only going to get that much CFM out of there. It'll make it throw it farther, but reality is there's only so much in that duct. So you upsize to get stuff. But I think the funniest thing for me is like homeowners, when the thermostat really is, it's not confusing me, but it's sometimes confusing because it says fan on and off, and they think the fan on is the unit outside.
Right, and that's not it. It's
No.
a blower motor.
It's a blower motor. So if you turn the fan to on, the unit in your heat by your heater, that's your blower, that comes on. Well, a lot of people like to use ceiling fans. Mm-hmm. Well, each ceiling fan's probably like 1.6 amps, maybe 2, depending on if it's old or new or whatever. You can turn, now the EMC motors, you can turn that fan on, and it's cheaper to run than just running all your ceiling fans. Because that ECM motor is so much more efficient now, because that's what they're designing to make units more. So you don't have to turn the fan on.
You can just turn
your blower on, and it's cleaning the air because it's going through the filter, especially if you not have an ionizer or something like that, or a filter. Mm-hmm. You're cleaning the air. It helps.
And it's rotating everything.
And it's keeping the air moving. Now, some people can say, well, it's going across the coil, it can get it hotter. Absolutely. But if it's set at 72 and it goes to 73, unit's going to kick on. Mm-hmm. And the high efficiency units, that kind of stuff, it recognizes it's about to go up and it turns it on before it goes up so that it maintains that temperature. It depends on if you have a lot of humidity in your house and that kind of stuff. But I mean, in the summertime right now, fans on, I would use those over ceiling fans and stuff. But some people like it for the noise. It's kind of like white noise that get them to go to sleep.
I have that on in my son's room when I'm putting the bed, but it's just for the white noise. Then we have a box fan in our room just because
you like it.
The noise, But I also want to feel airflow too, like the whole time. Just picky, but that kind of came from in the Philippines. We'd always have fans on, because my dad. We only had window units in our bedrooms, but he wouldn't let us use it during the day. So it's hot, it's humid, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, hey, you want to take a nap? Turn on the fan.
Yeah.
And it was always those oscillating fans too that are on the floor.
Yeah.
They don't do
ceiling fans. Right.
There.
But I think that's the biggest thing in right now, especially when it's 100 degrees. Like, make sure the unit's clean. Make sure, I hate to say it, if you have shades, you need to put them down. I know you love to look outside.
But
that's the biggest lows. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Just a sheet, there's the air that will actually insulate that space between that window that will help. Mm-hmm. It does get warm right there, but reality is it is a barrier for you. So that the load, because if you look at any new construction house, any house, if you look up to the ceiling, because most of our vents are in the ceiling in Oklahoma, it's next to an outside window, mm-hmm. so it tries to help take care of that load before it comes in the house. Mm-hmm. And not a lot of people understand that, but that's what it's doing. So you'll have one maybe by the front door, especially in every room. You're really close to a window.
Another little upgrade too for that is high flow grills too, right?
That would be the best, mm-hmm. because all the cheap grills are designed to kind of go across the ceiling and drop. And in Oklahoma, we put a 1-inch gap under the door so the air will suck underneath there and go to the return, so that air kind of flows through the house. And I think the law is about to change that every room, I think new commercial for sure, every room has to have a supply and return in it, because you want that air to circulate to one corner and keep that kind of rotation. Well, they're starting to do that in new construction. We try to do that, especially in the master bedroom, that kind of stuff, so that air's not stagnant. It's always constantly moving, and it makes the air more comfortable, especially when you go to that variable speed stuff. I mean, you're running low, it's dehumidifying, and it's just constantly moving that air. When you move that fan or move the air, you're not making it stagnant and still, so it's a lot more beneficial.
So probably the biggest thing for people that, they're like, hey, it's, 105, like it's been for the past, 2 weeks now?
Thank you.
Almost.
Let's go. Let's go.
People are like, it's only going to 80. I'm like, okay, well, that's considering it's 107 outside. That's actually good.
Right.
But some people are used to 68, 72, whatever. 80 is on the warm side.
Right.
But at least it's bearable. But the most common thing is probably either the filters being dirty to where it's plugged or the condenser is not clean.
Right.
And most of the time, like that's the first question, right? Like, hey, do you change your filters out? Is your condenser clean? People
And-
always say yes,
No,
most
yeah.
of the time. And then you get out there and you're like, dude, this thing has been clean for 2 years.
Right.
There's cottonwood all over it,
But the other thing is like, you got to understand the units are designed to run 90, 95 outside and 75 in your house. Once it's past that threshold, the efficiency, the quality, like you're not going to get it to maintain that temperature because there's too big of a load. The unit's not designed. So HVAC technicians, so you don't want to overcool a house, but then knowing where you're at, sometimes you put a little more coolant tonnage into the system to allow for these 95, 100 degree, 107 degree days, because then you have more tonnage to take care of that load. But there's a fine line between overcooling, because if you overcool, you'll have tons of humidity. Well, as a technician or a business, you have to weigh the odds. Do you want to overcool on certain days, or do we anticipate, like we're doing now, 107 degree days? Do we add more tonnage so we can get more coolant in that house? It's just
But the tonnage too, upsizing, let's say by half or something. I mean, a lot of that's dictated by what the ductwork is.
ductwork,
Right.
the insulation, windows. I mean, all plays a factor. I mean, if you don't have insulation, but let's say you have insulation, but you have no whirlybirds or
Yeah.
electronics.
No.
You have that heat just pounding on the insulation that's kind of going through the sheetrock. Most people do have the ridge one that
Yeah.
goes across, the worst ever design, I believe. But I'm not a roofer. I don't care. I'm not down. It works, but it just it's stagnant. The whirlybird is like kind of
Right.
sucking it out and moving it. Or a best one is a fan that you click on and it moves it out. It's the best one.
Well, they have solar fans now.
Yeah.
They'll open a vent and then.
Let it out. I mean, those are good. I'm not a big fan of the ridges because me personally, we did work in a house. They did the roof. They replaced the roof, and then they put that ridge, and it was so much hotter. Now, granted, it might have been hotter that day, but I remember I had to come down and relax because it was so much more miserable. And I was like, man, you need to get some vents in there. Like, my roof was just done. Well, they need to put something different in because
Yeah.
it was.
The other name
Hands
is
down.
like, because that's what I have at my house. I didn't know anything. But there's the turtle back ones, the whirlybirds, what they call them, and then the ridge vents, I think. And then whatever exhaust fans, electronic.
Right.
The one downside about the ridge vents is when it snows really bad and it's coming in sideways. Last winter, I had the snow come through the ridge vents and sit on top of the insulation of my attic, right?
And just melt.
Yeah, when it melted, then I have water coming through the drywall. I'm like, oh my gosh, like
What
I
happened?
had this leak, in my roof. What's going on? Go up there, and there's probably a bucket of snow, basically, So I'm picking through it and getting it,
Yeah.
and stuff. And so that part sucked. Something I learned yesterday from a roofer. I was talking to him as Charles Provost with Trademark Exteriors. I was asking him about spray foam, right? Spray foam insulation, the closed cell. And I asked him, I was like, so how do you find a leak, when it's all closed cell? And he said, well, it's actually not a big deal because it being closed cell, it doesn't go past the insulation. You're never going to see a leak under the insulation in the house. Now, where it's going to stay is on the roof, and eventually it'll get into the decking, basically. So basically the worst thing that could happen with that is not really a leak getting through your house. It's more about mold
And the decking being destroyed.
growing on the decking,
Wow.
But so I don't know. It was interesting.
That's a fine line right there.
Well, there was one that we went to go fix. We fixed the gas line. They had CSST, which is the flex gas, and a roofer hit it with a nail. But the reason why that even happened is because whoever ran the gas line didn't put the shielding
On
right?
it, yeah.
So, and it was a newer house, so I was like, how did this pass inspection? That's weird to me. But I don't know. We were just there to fix it, so.
Well, at the end of the day,
Yeah.
love and life.
Love life.
Thank you guys.